Hi everyone, Michael McQueen here. Well, it's been a couple of weeks since the AFA Leaders Forum. How time flies. Thought it'd be good to just check in and I guess recap some of the things that we covered in my session. And I do hope they set some context for the rest of the weekend, and I hope the electricity also stayed on for the rest of that weekend. You know, it was a great afternoon that we spent there on the Sunday, and I guess there were 5 keys that we looked at all around this theme of, as advisors, how do you reinvent yourself? And just to recap on those 5 things, the first key to reinvention, to staying at the cutting edge and maintaining growth and momentum, is to dig the well before you get thirsty. And we looked at this whole theme of disruption and different forms of disruption, be it digital disruption, and of course the whole topic of robo-advice came up. We looked at marketplace disruption and the fact that you are potentially facing competitive threats from unlikely places, people that in the past you may not have considered competitors in the financial advice sector. The third thing we looked at, of course, was the impact of demographic trends, younger generations coming through, and this question of, are you reaching out to the children of your key clients? And are you relevant to them as they come through into a stage of life where advice is important to them? And then the last one we looked at was the one around regulatory or legislative change, which of course is a movable feast and one that you guys are well acquainted with. The second thing we looked at was the importance of failing fast and failing frequently if you're going to reinvent yourself as a business. And I really challenge you with this thought. Firstly, how do you cultivate failure and make failure appropriate within your organization, not just, by the way, for your team, but also for yourself? Is failure destigmatized to the point where it is not seen as the enemy, but it's seen as an opportunity to learn? And so I challenge you to think about, how can you incentivize people not to make deliberate mistakes, but when they do fail, to own up to those failures or mistakes so that everyone can learn from them, because often in those failures lies innovation. The third thing we looked at from a reinvention standpoint was the importance of not paving the cattle track. Remember, we discussed this theme, and I think probably the most interesting discussion in the afternoon was when I asked you what elements of financial advice need a fundamental rethink rather than a superficial retread. And that's a discussion that I hope was picked up on, not just on the Sunday night over dinner, but even on the Saturday, because I think it's such an important question. It's not just for us to reinvent by adding technology to the way we've always done things previously. You know, simply finding more efficient ways to potentially do ineffective things. How do we need to rethink the fundamental way we operate in this sector? The fourth thing we looked at was the importance of fostering healthy paranoia. This idea that, you know, as businesses and as an industry, you've got a target painted on your back, and there are people who are right now looking to usurp your position of leadership. And so how do you stay humble and hungry, constantly looking for, you know, threats that might be about to hit you, but looking to change before those threats arrive? And I even shared that quote from Steve Jobs: if you're not willing to cannibalize your own business, someone else will do it for you. So foster healthy paranoia. And number 5, the 5th key, was to think like a startup. And of course, you look at the startup world and it's characterized by a mentality which is about lean, seamless or frictionless, and being ruthlessly customer focused. How do you adopt that sort of mindset? And I think I recommended a book to you, Eric Ries's book, The Lean Startup. And I'd highly recommend you get a hold of that, because it looks at how established businesses can adopt the mindset of a startup company. So I do hope that afternoon was a helpful, a helpful chance to think about some of the issues around where the industry is going, where the profession is heading, but more importantly, what your role as leaders within it is. How do you set the pace? How do you reinvent yourself and this entire profession over the years to come? And I know I've been speaking to Brad and to Nick about how we take this learning further, and so I guess watch this space. I do hope to reconnect with you at some point in the future. But for now, I just wanted to say hi, hope it was helpful, and I look forward to crossing paths in the months and years to come to hear how you've put into place some of the things we discussed at Leaders Forum.